Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the first anime Christmas movie called Tokyo Godfathers.
Yes, and this film has grown a cult following and is hailed as one of the best Christmas and anime movies ever made. And it follows Jin, Miss Hana, and Miyuki as they discover an abandoned baby and search all over the city to find her parents.
Yes, and before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification bell updates on future podcasts and we'll pause videos.
And what city was that? Was that Tokyo? Kyoto.
Right, Kyoto, but it's called Tokyo Godfathers. I guess Kyoto didn't sound as catchy. Kyoto Godfathers didn't sound as catchy, did it?
So, we've been really wanting to see this since last year. Since last year.
Yeah,
and it wasn't available to watch on YouTube. We couldn't find it to buy it. It wasn't on Prime. Definitely isn't on Crunchyroll. And then finally it was put on YouTube to watch for free.
Yes, and we watched it actually on Christmas Day. Most people watch it on the eve or maybe a day before the eve because they like to line up with the time it takes place in the film. But this has been talked about for years, and I mean years. Every year, a new set of people will watch the film and give their review, and it's always been nothing but praise. And recently there were more reviews because around the time it became free on YouTube, more people were able to watch it at one time instead of just trying to find it somewhere else.
Now, within the first 5 minutes of the film, you're not sure what the movie is about. You've read the description, if you've heard it, and then you watch the first 5 minutes and you're like, what's going on? And then after that, it gets into the movie and it stays in the movie the entire time.
Right. And you don't expect it. It actually ends up being a kind of wholesome film. Even with the badness. Yeah. Even with the not so great things happening in it. Right.
He says things too.
Right. And even with the things happening within the movie, the message is still the same of being together and having family. And there's also a heavy message of as you pointed out actually when we were watching, about people being connected and God intervening like many times within the film. Which we were kind of like surprised to see that in the film, because it's rare that we see that in a lot of these animes. So that was actually a big part of the film, but I think a lot of people don't really notice it until like you go back and you really think about it.
Now, Jin, Miss Hana, and Miyuki are all homeless and living on the streets, and they find the baby.
Yes.
And they wonder, did someone leave it? And they look around to see if there's someone nearby whom the baby belongs to, but they find no one. And Miss Hana wants to keep the baby.
Yes.
She wants to read the baby is around.
Yes.
And the baby is so pretty.
Yes.
Her name is Kikyo.
Yes.
And she's such a pretty baby. She's like, oh, I want to keep her. You can't keep her. You can't rear her out here in the streets. And all these other reasons.
Right.
And then it goes into, okay, well, then our goal after all of this talking, and we don't ruin any of it because it's hilarious.
There's a lot of dialogue in here, for sure.
The goal becomes to find the mother of the baby. And then as you mentioned, so many things start interconnecting, like the universe is leading them back to the mom of the baby so the baby is safe.
Right. And another thing to point on here is that this movie is actually subtitled. There is an English dub. So, but we don't know who the English people are in here. We've only saw it subtitled.
And the free version's only available in
Right. So there's a lot of reading, there's a lot of dialogue within it. But it's not like they're just rambling on and on about nothing. You might not understand maybe the first 5 minutes, you're not sure, but the rest of it is real easy to follow, and there's a lot of really big messages in there. And as you watch the movie, they also reveal how each of them became homeless. Like, they had lives before they all met each other. And all throughout the film, you find out how they end up at that point. And then that there's a possibility for their life to change.
And I think what was beautifully written as well, as you mentioned, the universe seems to be leading them back to this baby. But as each backstory is revealed for each character, each of their stories is unexpectedly interwoven.
Right.
And it's like you don't see that coming, where each one, their backstory ends up being important to what's currently happening, and then that interleads to become important to the future of what happens toward the end of the movie. It's brilliantly written.
Yes, it's like on the level of, like, we rarely see anime written like that, and when it's there, it really hits hard, especially when you say it has the rewatch value. You go back and you see things that you missed and you didn't catch the first or the second or the third time. And the only other animes I can think of, and they're like really far between each other, would be Cowboy Bebop and Odd Taxi, with having interconnected stories.
Now I kept thinking, please don't let someone die. Please don't let someone get taken out in this movie. Please don't let it happen.
Right.
So the only thing that will tell you that it ends up being a happy ending.
Right.
Not the ending you expect, but it is a happy ending.
Right. And the good news that we didn't get spoiled for years on the movie. We never saw any reviews. We just kept seeing there were positive reviews from the titles and descriptions, but we were never spoiled anything, so everything was a surprise. The only thing I was for sure of is that no one was killed in the movie.
Yes.
So that was also big bonus because there were points in the film where we really, like you said, really didn't know what was going to happen. Every time you're like, stop!
We kept saying, did someone lie? Did they lie to us? But
right.
No, it didn't end up happening. So
right.
That was really good. The Japanese voice cast is excellent. All the nuances were conveyed, and the emotions, everything was brilliantly done. I would love to see it again with the dub and see how that experience is as well.
Right.
Animation, definitely for the time it was made, was really good. Very fluid,
yes.
Colorful, dynamic.
Yes, and really detailed, especially if they started yelling at people. Like, they would really get like, they would just look literally comical. And it also found a way to balance when it would be hilarious and when it would be heartfelt, when it would be dramatic. Like, it wasn't just goofy looking the whole time,
right.
But it still didn't look like it was so flowing and so fluid where it looked like it was constantly moving in a rush. It looked like there were times when it was really headstrong on the animation and times where it was just still and quiet, and every single time it fit the scene.
I think another element that was really in the forefront is presenting in a story format to us how our choices are important and shape our future and can have ramifications, all without being preachy. Jen had made a decision that was not good. Miss Hana had made a decision that was not good, and Miyuki definitely had made a decision that was not good.
Right.
And those poor decisions they made ending up putting them where they were currently.
Right.
And again, when we see the backstories, and it shows us how they ended up in the present, and how the backstory in the present was going to end up catapulting into the future.
Right.
Again, it was brilliantly done.
Yes.
And I like that each character got to learn why the choice they made in the past was a mistake.
Right.
And then I loved how 2 out of 3, actually all 3, that's not true, all 3 were offered the opportunity to make amends, to apologize, and to try to right, can't right the wrongs, but how to make better choices and make better decisions moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing is that there's like a pretty big cast in here, so there's like new characters every so often. There'll be new characters introduced, whether it be for just a moment or you see them later. There's like different people that maybe they already knew from their lives before they became homeless, or people they end up meeting later on in the film, or they don't know they're related to this character, and somehow all of them have been in the center of it. And with all these characters, it seems like the most popular character in the film, or the favorite character, is Miss Hana. And you can't help but love her because of how compassionate she is pretty much the whole film. Even when she gets angry at Jin, she's still compassionate.
And I love how within the movie, when Miss Hana returns to one of the places she worked at, all that compassion that she's experiencing now, you see that other people had it for her.
Right.
And the choice that she made was not even a choice that she had to make, because the compassion she showed to them, they wanted to return it to her long ago. But
Exactly.
She never went back to experience it.
Exactly. And I think that's probably the shining thing in the entire film. One, that you get a happy ending. Even with all the things that happen unfortunate, you get a happy ending. And it's really what we're missing in a lot of movies, because the people, some writers claim, well, you need to be realistic. It can't go the great way all the time.
Bring on the pain!
Right. So they tend to write unfortunate things happening to characters out the whole film, and just when you think it's going to be fine, they give them a sad ending and say, well, this is how it would go. And it's a poor outlook. But what's different about this movie, with all the bad things happening, you still want to stick to the end, because a part of you knows when you're watching that things are going to be okay. And sure enough, they are. But how it's written, there are times where you kind of doubt it, and it's so well written, we kind of thought like, oh gosh, what's going to happen now?
Very true. And I'm so glad that it did have a happy ending, because if it didn't, I think that would have ruined the movie for me personally.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that things work out for each one of these main characters.
Right.
And again, they each learn why the decisions, the choices they made were not the right ones. And they learn that it could have gone a whole different way just by doing the opposite of what they chose. Mm-hmm. And now they know that there are people that love them. Mm-hmm. And they were living homeless thinking, oh, they are living homeless thinking no one loves them and no one cares. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't be more wrong. So I think that was another beautiful message that the movie conveyed.
Right. And it's perfect for this time of year when a lot of people are more open to being, together and in fellowship and everything. So this is definitely worthy of having the title of one of the best holiday movies and best anime movies.
And now I can add this along with Die Hard. Yes, Tokyo Godfathers is a Christmas movie.
Yes.
And defended stolidly.
Yes.
So if you've seen Tokyo Godfathers, let us know what you think in the comments below. Was it eye-opening for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you see it subbed or dubbed? Did you see it originally when it came out, or are you watching it now like we did for free on YouTube? If you haven't seen it, again, it's available on YouTube to watch for free. Give it a watch, come back and tell us what you think in the comments below. I really think this is a really important and wonderful movie you should make an attempt to watch. Mm-hmm. Definitely right now during the holiday season. There are so few movies that are out there now that have so many different messages in them that aren't preachy, but that really apply to the season. Mm-hmm. And apply to the love and compassion and care and different things that go on during this time. And this movie perfectly puts them in one little package. Mm-hmm. And presents them to you. So again, this should be at the top of your list. Mm-hmm. To watch during this season.
Right.
And you will not be disappointed in the movie at all.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, weekly videos, and your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate you. If you want us to give you a follow, and we are not already following you, tell us the name of your channel in the comments below. Better yet, leave a link. We'll check it out and give you a follow. Again, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate all new and current subscribers, your family.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a tune-tastic day.
Peace.